Before I get started, I'd like to tell a quick story. I always just my presentations with a story. Can you guys hear me? Okay, perfect. So 2 days ago, before I came here, my wife and my kids, they were sleeping in bed. I had to get up early. I didn't sleep too well tonight because I was actually sick. So I get up at 4 a.m. in the morning, right? I start packing, and my wife, we're going to marriage counseling. Right, maybe switch? Yeah, marriage counseling. So me and my wife are going to marriage counseling, and the marriage counselor suggests to me that I got to start, doing these small, sincere gestures. So I'm like, all right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, do my sincere gesture, which is me writing this nice little letter, and I'll read it to you guys, so you guys can tell me if it's sincere or not. All right, family, it's Daddy, okay? I will miss Angie, which is my wife, Aiden and Lucia, who are my kids, very much, and we'll see you soon again. On Sunday. We'll be checking up on all of you. Okay, Aiden, make sure you do your chores, and make sure you read the book, The Way Home in the Night. And Lucia, make sure when Daddy calls, you give me a couple kisses, right? Because when I call my daughter, she'll look at me and try to give me kisses over the phone. So I penned this letter, and at the bottom of the letter, as you guys can see, I try to draw my family, which is me, my wife, my son, who happens to have a really big head, huge head, right? So it's not depicted in the picture, but it's depicted in the responses at the bottom, because I posted this on Instagram. So anyway, back to marriage counseling. My marriage counselor says, look, you argue with your wife a lot. You guys are on the same team. You're on the same team. So what I ended up drawing, this is wasn't what I was going to do before, but I did it while I was writing the message, was the family unit. The family unit is the first team your kids grow up into. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to talk about building a team, because once you understand how to build a team, right, you could solve any problem. Doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter if it's merch related, doesn't matter if it's FBA related, doesn't matter if it's health related, it does not matter. So I wanted to pick a topic that we could apply across the board and not just be, how do I outsource my merch business, right? I have multiple partners and multiple businesses. I'll explain, further on, but yes, building a team will solve any problem, right? I'm not the best at everything, right, obviously. I'm the best at building a team, right? I'm very good at doing that. So that's what I wanted to go over today. So a couple of my teams up in the right-hand corner, you'll see, that's my gym team, right? They keep me accountable for being in shape, right? So those are guys that keep me accountable for that. In the lower right-hand side, you'll see my therapist, my marriage counselor, right? His name is Jose. He's my Make My Wife Happy team, right? Up in the right-hand corner, you'll see me and Anthony. You might have seen some of our drives. Have you guys ever watched Merch Empire Jersey Edition? A couple of you? Yay. Ooh, okay. Right. So in the back, you see two guys, Brian and Jordan, or Brian and Junior in the back seat. Those guys are actually our social media team, right? You'll hear the word team a lot during this presentation, because if there's anything you could take away from this conference, building a team, again, will solve the problem. We also did an event at our office called the 10X for 10, right? It's a little workshop that we brought everyone together, and everyone, people enjoyed that. The reason why is because we were able to share information there and thereafter, and those people walked away with some gold nuggets to apply in their business. In the lower right-hand corner, you'll actually see our pediatrician. His name is Michael, right? And he actually fired, or he terminated me as a patient. And that's a story for another time, but the point is, he fired me. I'm not part of his team anymore, right? So he's not our doctor, he's not our pediatrician anymore. So irregardless, it doesn't matter whether you're building a team, you get fired from a team, you fire members of your team, it's always, again, building a team. So those are just 5 little aspects in my life where, the team does matter, okay? Always build a team, right? Again, we always got to build a team, okay? So this was our, I took a snapshot this morning and put the slide together. This is our FBA business. We did $2.2 million last year. Sometimes I round it up to 2.3. You guys hear me say that? So, what we did when I got into this business was I said, Ann, we got to figure out what we have to do to scale, right, or to grow the revenue of this company. So what I did was I put together a launch team, right? It was 3 members, okay? One guy researching SKUs, okay? taking pictures of those SKUs or those items, one guy doing those images, right, doing like making the images look better, okay? And then one girl creating the listing from those images, right? So the only thing I did for this is I figured out more SKUs equal more money, build launch team. That's it. That's all I did, right? And I said, okay, if this guy can go and research 10 listings a day or 10 SKUs a day, let me try to figure out how to help him get to 100, right? That's all I did. So I'm sitting there trying to figure out helping these people, these teams out so they can become more efficient. So last year, using the same principle, always build a team, we went from 1.2 to 2.2 million just from taking the same employees I have inside of our business and refocusing them, right, on the items that I could process out and make duplicatable. You guys all with me so far? Cool? All right. All right, so this is another business we had, and again, I really, again, if the only thing you can take away is I always want to build a team because that's what Kevin told me, okay? So this was a business that we had. It was a call center business. We still have it. Back in 2012, we started off, you could see in the first month, January 2012, it was $30,000. That was our first month. And as you could see, we progressively increased up to, I think, like $234,000. And then Hurricane Sandy hit, and we went down a little bit. But the point of this slide, and subsequently the next one, again, is I built a sales team. And this time, the sales team was 110 people, right? So I was able to take the people, focus them really, intently. So same thing with you guys. You don't have to do a lot. You don't have to do merch. You don't have to do and FBA. You don't have to do that. You got to just take one thing that you may do really well, maybe something you don't do well, figure out how to outsource it or insource it or hire someone to do it, and then, wow, now you got 3 designers, 4 designers, 5 designers, 10 salesmen, 10 people listing. Like, you want to be able to train someone, take that blueprint, and then duplicate it over and over and over. In reality, it's really boring. Like, think about it. I'm taking these guys and I'm just training another version of the same person over and over and over. So as you could see, on the next slide, we got up to $1 million a month. So think about that, right? We started with nothing, right? It was me taking calls from my home office, and then we eventually got to $1 million a month. But to me, the result of what happened, or what you guys see on the screen, it's just, again, what I keep on telling you. It's just, you got to build a team, and you got to do a lot of it. You want to build a $100 million company? Just like, my man back there who put up the slide regarding Amazon and how they grew their business, they have a lot of employees. You got to hire. Your first question when you leave here is like, what can I do in my business to hire somebody? And if it doesn't work out, you just get rid of them. It's okay. They have better things they're going to do in their life. It's all right. Everything will be fine. So, again, this is just the same concept. I want you guys to really understand. You just want to build a team. Build a team, okay? All right, there you go. So here's some reasons to outsource or reasons to build a team. Again, people equal money. It's not the opposite. It's not the other way around. They're not liabilities. These are people that you're going to make money off of. If you make money off of one designer, hire another one. And then hire another one. And then keep on hiring. Right? People equal money. It's not the other way around. And a lot of people, when you hire somebody, you think it's something permanent. It's not. If it doesn't work, I've hired and fired people the same day. So if it doesn't work out, it's okay. But people equal money. Okay? People equal revenue. People equal profit. And you want to grow your frontline army. The second reason you want to outsource or you want to hire is because there might be some kind of emotional wall. And here's the best way to figure out what that emotional wall is go to your to-do list or go to your list of things that you say you're going to do and see what things you don't do. And you'll find out, because I've done this, and the only reason I was able to figure that out is because I found some items that continued staying on my list, and then you'll find out that a year goes by and you still haven't done it. Why? Sometimes you can answer the question. Sometimes you could figure it out. A lot of times you can't. then you might have to hire your own Jose, right? Your own counselor to go figure that out. But the point is, if you have those emotional walls really easily to identify by just looking at your to-do list and saying, you know what, this thing hasn't been accomplished, and it's as simple as going to the bank. And the reason I mention that is because there was a girl in her office, and she did not want to go to the bank. Here's the reason why. It's because her bank was negative. So she didn't want to go to the bank. She didn't want to go to the bank. She's not going to accomplish putting money into the bank. So it's those things you want to get rid of. And there's some emotional walls with even myself. I go and I give it out to the girls in the office or the guys in the office and say, please do this, because for some reason, I can't do it. You guys all follow me? Does that make sense? Right? Okay. Another reason you want to outsource, besides making money, is low value, right? You guys value you value yourself and your time at a certain certain value, whatever that is. Maybe it's $100 an hour, maybe it's $50 an hour, whatever it is. You don't want to do things of lower value, right? If you can hire someone in the Philippines or in a third world country or developing country, God bless them, go and do it. Like you're going to pay them $380 to $450 to do something full time for you. You really going to sit here and put up merch listings or listings all day? You're going to do that with FBA, you're going to do that with merch? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't. It makes sense enough to understand it so that you can train someone. That has always been my mentality. How do I understand this enough to train someone? I'm not the best sales guy. I trained 110 sales guys. How? Because I understood enough to train someone in the process so then I could do $1.1 million in a month, right? Fourth reason to outsource or to hire someone, best of the worst, okay? What that means is this: if you're bad at it, don't do it, right? There's certain things like I can't design. I just can't do it, right? Anybody else like that? You guys are all great designers in here, right? Some guys are. I mean, some of you aren't. It's okay. Outsource it. Get rid of it. Turn it into a positive. If you can't do it, you outsource it. Next thing you know, now you're doing something you like, or you're doing something that you can make money off of, okay? Fifth reason, best of the best. If you're really good at it, okay? Well, let me read it. The person will beat you 99 times out of 100. So what that means is if somebody's really good at it, give it to them instead. Anthony's a lot better at doing videos than me, right? So he sits there and does the 3 to 4 videos a week for Merch Empire Jersey Edition, right? He could do it really fast, doesn't require any kind of thought. When he went away and I had to do it myself, I'm sitting there like, all right, and I got to think for like 30 minutes before I actually go and do this show. So so that's number 5. And number 6, time. There's been many times where I had to go and get something done right away. So I'll give you a quick example. In our FBA business, we had 30,000 units arrive late in our warehouse, okay? So we're like, oh my God, we got to get it into Amazon. What are we going to do? So we called up the warehouse girl. She started crying. She's like, I don't know if I'll be able to send all these units in before Christmas. She goes and hires more temporary people. And then we send the girls from our office to go and help out at that point. Like, you just got to get it done. There's too much to lose. So, sometimes time is of the essence, and you got to get that done, okay? You guys all follow that? 6 good reasons to outsource or hire out. All right, so here's a really good story. This is actually true. So Jordan, he was at one point a pizza delivery guy. Okay, he delivered pizzas before we hired him. Then he became our IT guy. Okay, he was on our payroll at that point. And then I started talking to this kid. I'm like, holy shit, this kid's really smart, right? And he tells me a story, true story, that he hacked the FBI, okay? He hacked the FBI. He got into their email server and created an email, jordan@fba.gov, jordank@fbi.gov. Like, holy shit. So 7 years goes by. He lets the FBI know that he hacked their servers. He's sitting in a hot tub. This guy approaches him and goes, hey, I'm into computers. What do you do? Jordan's like, I like computers too. He goes like, I work for Homeland Security. He's like, please work for the government. He ended up not working for the government, but they still have him in the database, and they still ask him to do things. At this point, he figured out a security flaw with Homeland Security's servers, and he got that medal from the Pentagon. See, it says hack the Pentagon. So the point is, pizza delivery guy, low value. What the fuck are you doing, Jordan? You're delivering pizzas. Stop. Then he became an IT guy. But still, I knew, like, this kid, like, he could do a lot more. So if you guys have ever bought, now, he has some flaws too, but I won't mention that. But, if you ever have purchased the Merchanator, he created that tool. He can create anything, right? So he's our developer in-house, and he can make, all these different software tools, websites, whatever the case is, and he could also hack the Pentagon. So this is a great example of low value, right? You guys, like, if I never told him go and develop in the corner at our company, he probably would have still been an IT guy, and maybe he would have still be delivering pizzas, right? You got to be able to identify people's capabilities and talent. Like, I see all of you, like, there's like different talents like everywhere. Like, I've talked to you guys, like, you guys, there's a lot of different things that you guys are extremely capable of doing, but you got to realize it yourself, or have a guy like me say, you know what, you're fucking awesome. Like, you could do that, you can make a lot of money, and you guys can. You can, but it boils down to building a team. It really does, right? All right, so here's my exact hiring timeline that I use, right, for merch and for FBA, okay? Doesn't really apply in the United States, right? It's a little bit different, but the first thing I do is I run an ad on onlinejobs.ph. You can use, like, all those other websites, whatever they are. I don't even know what they are anymore because my memory's not that good. What is it? Upwork. What are some other websites? Fiverr, something like that. I use onlinejobs.ph. Why? Because it works the best. You guys want to do something else? That's fine. Onlinejobs.ph is the best for me. Why? I can run an ad and I can get 50 to 100 people to respond in 2 to 3 days, right? So the first thing I do is I run an emotional ad. You don't want to run an ad that says something like, growing t-shirt company looking for designer. Woo, I want to send my resume to that guy. Like, no. You want to write something like, growing t-shirt company is seeking, or you could say looking for, ambitious, talented designer. Why? Why do you think that? Why is that headline better than the previous headline? Because it's emotional, right? Not only that, if someone responds to that, then they probably think that they're ambitious and talented. You want to write the ad like the people that you want to attract, not like, well, I'm a growing t-shirt company, come work for me, I'll pay you X amount per month. Nobody wants to work for anybody like that. The reason that people like working for, like, me and Anthony is because we're emotional. Like, we talk about their families. We ask about how they're doing. We go and, like, get them a slice of pizza when they're on the phone so they know they can't get to lunch because I see that they're on the phone and they're hungry. Or I hear their stomach grumble and they'll go get the slice of pizza, right? So, emotions appeal to people. We don't like to say it appeals to people, but it appeals to all of you. Like, emotional ads pull. Write them and use onlinejobs.ph. Second thing is, when you get that many resumes, you can't look for reasons to hire. You want to look to disqualify, right? So immediately, if I write an ad for a writer and they send me a resume and I read a sentence and it doesn't make sense, gone. Doesn't matter if they wrote for Harvard University and they're done. I won't even look any further. I don't care, right? Third, okay, let me read this one. Get them off email onto Slack. Set the tone by being quick. First impressions die hard. So immediately, besides asking them, besides asking them a couple basic questions, I say, my number one pet peeve is you not responding to me. So if I send you a Slack response or Slack message, if you're working for me, you immediately have to respond. And I also make them install Slack on their cell phone because there is no exceptions to that. And there have been times where I say that and the person that won't accept that, and the reason why is because they're already looking for a way just to make money from you and not to work with you. So they may be working 2 or 3 outsourced jobs or 4 outsourced jobs and literally just trying to take a paycheck from you. But I know that if I send them a message and they're immediately responding with intent, I know that they're completely engaged with my job or my task, right? And there was a girl that was working for us, and she was responding, and then she stopped, and I had to check her, right? I said, look, I think you're napping. She goes, no, I'm not. And there was a slight, there was this back and forth between her, and I had to give her an out. I said, look, if you were napping, it's okay, right? But moving forward, this doesn't work. It just can't. And you guys got to be good enough as managers and hiring and people developing your organizations to have those conversations when they're not necessarily the best time to have those conversations. Okay? So that's number 3. Number 4, I try to disqualify them again. Immediately, if I get them on the Slack and they're a good writer, or they say they're a good writer, and I try to just talk to them like I do with you guys, and they can't respond back, that means they do not have a good command of the English language. You're not going to be my writer. So they get them on the Slack, and then now I've already disqualified them. I may have even hired them already at that point, and I fire them right there. And when I say fire, I don't mean it to be like mean or aggressive. It's like, look, it's not going to work out. It's okay. That's it. My old firing line was like, look, it's not working out. It's okay. You have my cell phone. You want to grab a drink or something for lunch. You want a new good recommendation. It's all right. Like everything's okay. And then most of the people that I've let go, they're actually my friend because they respect that. Who wants to work for someone who's aggressive and argumentative and make you feel bad? Apple had a policy when you left Apple, they would all line up in a column and they would all clap as you left the door. So big companies understand that. I figured out myself, it's better to let them feel good when they leave than the other way around. Okay? 4.1, evaluation. So get samples, test their limits. This is important. If you're a writer, give me a sample. I don't care about the sample they gave me on the resume. I care about the sample they're going to write right now. So if they're a designer, give me 10 designs right now. How long? I'll ask them, how long will it take you to make 10 designs? A day? Okay, go. If I don't like them, you're gone. And it's okay because they're going to do something better in their life. They're not going to work for you. You have resentment. They don't want to work for you, and you're not happy. It's not a good relationship. Remember, when you're hiring someone, it's a relationship. It is a two-way relationship. Not I'm paying you, and you got to do what I tell you to do. The other person deserves, the other way around as well. Okay, and then the 5th is you want to hire them. I said this before, I'll say it again. It's a probationary period, right? So they may think it's permanent, but it's probationary. Again, you could fire them at this point. You hire them, they're not working out in 3 days. It's okay. Let them go. Okay, and lastly, you're going to go then from being a designer or being a writer or doing listings to a coach. And sometimes it's a very hard transition. Because people are good at you guys might be good at doing a specific task, but you're not good at teaching people on how to do that task. Not only teaching them, there's the how, and then there's the why. So you got to be able to motivate them, inspire them, aspire them. There's a lot of different emotionally pull them and push them. There's a lot of use fear. There's a lot of different things you're gonna have to do as a coach. So you're gonna move from specific how job, whatever that may be, to now you're a coach and you're a leader. People are going to follow what you do, not what you say, right? And I'll take an example of my wife, right? She's a great writer. She has a great business, but I told her, I said, look, you have all these relationships with JetBlue and American Express and Hyatt Hotels and Hilton, and they're giving you all this money and they're telling you to go travel here and do all these things. I said, why don't you just put some writers on staff and you could just manage the relationships and then they could write about it. And she can't do it. She can write, she can manage the relationships, she can't coach. Even me trying to help her. This is all I do. So, it's tough, it's not easy, and I'm still trying to help her to do that, but it's not an easy thing to do. Okay. You guys understand? Good? Okay. Quick story. So I own a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym. Who here knows what Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is? A couple of you guys? Okay. So 2 years ago, my instructor died in a car accident from driving home New Year's Eve. Car accident, dead. Okay? It's sad because he was a friend of mine. So we all get to the school, and there's 60 of us. Everyone's grieving. Everyone's sad. People are talking. They're like, the school's not going to be here anymore. It's all going to be gone. right? And there's a, in these schools, like there's some kind of, there's a social hierarchy, right? So if you've been there for a while, then you kind of like, you're the guy, right? And I wasn't there for that long period of time. So I let everyone speak, and I said, look, do you guys mind me talking? They said, sure. So I said, look, I see a lot of talent in here. You could be a great attorney. You could be a great marketer. You could be great at operations, but let's just gather some information. We don't know how many people are part of this school. We don't know what the cost is. We don't know what the rent is. We don't know how much PSE&G is. I said, but I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm not leaving you guys. I will never do that. And I'm not leaving him, Julio, who's now my partner. So Julio 2 years ago came to me and goes, look, I want to start my own Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym. I said, look, I'll help you out. What do you need? So we started talking. It died off. After that whole meeting, I went over to Julio and I go, now's your chance. You want to own a school? Because the team cohesion's now here. I laid down the seed. I brought the team together, and he was the leader. I was just backing him. Next day, we all printed out order forms, handed them all out. They all signed them with credit cards. Now I own a school that does $20,000 a month in revenue by injecting the team cohesion back in. That's all I did, right? In times of uncertainty, you gotta be certain. And in those times, those guys needed that. That's what they needed, and I realized it real fast. 3 biggest mistakes outsourcing. Okay, number 1, no documentation. So what that means is this: you don't have to document your whole business. You just got to document part of it. And specifically, I like to try to document as little as possible. A lot of guys like to, write all these pages, but it changes, right? So if I'm gonna hire somebody to do merch listings, right? I'm literally just gonna write the documentation or the 3 bullet points to do that. You hire someone and say, okay, do the listings. And they're gonna follow the bullet points, okay? Now, if they have any questions, I like to use, and it's not on the screen, a product called Jing or Screencast. Do you guys know what that is or no? Right, or Screencastify. So anything that they have specific questions on, instead of writing them in email, I'll shoot a quick video in like 30 seconds. So I'm able to document the main bullet points, and then anything specific I can just record on my computer and send right out. Okay? So you got to document. I don't recommend documenting a lot. I recommend documenting very little, right? And then when you have some time and it's all set in stone, then you can document some more. But if you're going to hire someone right now, and you guys should all do that after this call or after this presentation, you should try to hire someone. And if you feel uncomfortable after you hire them, just fire them. Then at least you go through the process. This wasn't made in a vacuum, right? Seriously, this was not made in a vacuum. This was made by me hiring and firing close to 1,000 people. 1,000 people I've hired and fired over the last 15 years being an entrepreneur. So the only way you're going to get good at it is just by doing a lot of it. And I really do suggest you guys, if you feel uncomfortable hiring someone, to hire them and then to let them go the same day. I know it's funny, but it's at the same time, it's the real solution. You want to think about it some more? I'm telling you, don't think about it. Literally, put an ad up on onlinejobs.ph, run the ad, hire someone, let them go. It'll get rid of all that like thinking and anxiety and like, do I have it in me to hire somebody? It'll just go right away. It'll be gone. You already did it. There's no more thinking. It's done. All right, no documentation. All right, next. Hands off. Okay, the worst thing you could do is hire someone and then just let them go. Right, go figure it out. Right, so 30 days creates a habit. So you want to keep them focused for a period of time. I put 30 days, but for me personally, I make the discretionary call when I can say, okay, this person's good. But 30 days is a good amount of time. If you're working with someone for 30 days, then they've probably you've developed a relationship with them. They've developed the habits to do whatever task that you need to do. All right, and lastly, they're not good enough. Certain people you may put a lot of time, money, and energy into, and they're just not going to giving it back to you. Happens all the time. So there was a great video I was watching by a guy named Marshall Goldsmith. Right? Do you guys know who he is or no? Probably maybe not. Maybe so. Okay. So he's speaking at the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies in the United States. We happen to make that, but he said something on stage, and he goes, "Look, some people are not going to change." So this woman stands up in the crowd, and she says, my father smokes cigars. I want him to quit. And he only asked one question, and he goes, "How old is he?" And she goes, 80. And he just sits back like this. He starts laughing. He goes, have him smoke one, have him smoke two. Who cares at this point? He's not going to change. Just like my father, he's not going to change. It's not going to work. There's certain people you bring aboard, they're not going to change. You let them go. Keeping someone on good enough is bad. There's 3 types of people in an organization: good, great, mediocre. Who's the worst? Who's the worst type of person? Good, because you don't know. It's so in the middle. Me and Anthony have been sitting there before. I'm like, do we keep this guy? It's happening actually right now. There's a guy in our organization, right? And we're like, Ant, do we keep him? And literally back and forth for the last 3 days. I'm like, I don't know. What do you think? Actually longer. It's been a week and a half. If you gotta have the conversation, bye-bye. Okay? So don't make these mistakes. I've made them for the last 15 years, and the funny part is I'm still making them. I'm still making these mistakes. All right, so here's some bonus material, simple management techniques. There's a lot of different ways you can manage, but here's the simplest way, okay? You want to eliminate, focus, and benchmark. So if you hire someone, don't give them a lot of stuff to do. Give them one thing to do, please, okay? And have them focus on it until they can explain it to you, until you feel like they've done a good job, until you check their work, and don't have them don't do this. Go figure it out. Yeah, you're going to go do some listings for me, thanks. It ain't gonna work. Okay, no way. Okay, benchmark, all that means is, if you hire a designer and they could do 10 in a day, and that's what they did on the first day because they gave me 10 samples, that's the benchmark. Now they could do 10 a day, 10 the next day, 10 the next day, 10 the next day, right? So if they do 50 in a week, right, that's their benchmark. 50 times 4 is 200. They could do 200 in a month. That's the benchmark. It's just a number, right? So what you want to do now is you want to increase productivity, because the more you can get someone to do for you, the more money you make. So the second thing I usually do after I benchmark is I ask them a question. And I say, is there anything I could do for you so you can go from 10 to 12? And you know what? They always have an answer. They always have an answer to give you, so you can say, you know what? I never thought of that. Let me go and just answer that question via video or email, and now that you've gone from 10 designs a day to 12, or 40 listings on FBA to a 50. It's literally just a question. Is there anything that I could do to help you? Okay. Number 3, benchmark and praise. So now you got the number. Now all you got to do is say this: good job. I'm not even kidding. There's a girl in my office. I said to her the other day, you know what she said to me? Wow, you don't tell me that enough. And I actually was upset because I thought I did, and I didn't. So you'll be surprised on how literally sitting down next to someone and saying, good job, how far that goes. I see it in my kids. Like my son will hit my daughter. And the only reason he hits my daughter is because he doesn't have my attention. So the praise part, it's more valuable than money. Really is. Think about to the best bosses you've ever had or the best relationships you've ever had, and someone comes over to me and said, you know what you told me? That actually means something to me. Or one of my best baseball coaches, and when I was younger, when he was upset, he would not get angry, right? He would just take his notepad and he would look on the ground and he would kind of do one of these, and he used guilt. So I was guilty. I'm like, guilty. Man, I did a bad job. I got to work harder for him. He wouldn't even say anything to me. Literally, those actions that you do can push someone really hard, right? And you got to understand that, because we're just all in the people game. That's it. This is a build the team, build the people game. All right. And then, 4th I put here is money, right? So if you go from 10 to 12, or now you praise them, now they're going from 10 to 14, here's the next thing you do. Look, get to 20 and I'll give you $5. Right, if you're outsourcing. Now, if someone in the United States, you might have to pay them a little bit more, but just give them some money. Now they're at 20. Okay, and lastly is benchmarks become new expectations. Now they're at 20. Roger Bannister ran the mile in 4 minutes. The year after, there was 7, or how many? Jacob, you know the answer to this. He broke the barrier. Now it happens all the time. So once it happens, it's done. You don't have to go now. You don't have to go and praise them and give them money and stuff like that. It's already over, right? Now they're doing 20 designs a day. Why? Because you just went through that. Now the cool thing about this is this: You could cycle through that. So you cycle through it. Now you've increased their productivity, and now you do it again. So look, all right, now they're doing too much. Let me focus them again. Okay, now the new benchmark is 20. Let me ask some good questions. All right, let me praise them some more. Let me give them some money. Boom, now you got a new expectation. And that's how you take someone that at one point he was doing, I forgot, maybe 180 designs a month, and now he does 600. I forgot what our designer does now. But those are some simple management techniques that you guys could use. So A, I taught you how to hire. B, you guys know that building a team is the most important thing you're going to get from this conference. And then C, simple management techniques you could use for the rest of your life. Doesn't matter if you're outsourcing or insourcing or in the United States. These are the things that we've used to build $1 million companies. So that's it. Build an unstoppable team, 10x your business, and that's how you do it. Any questions?
Just a second.
Yeah, do you pay a fee per design or per the hour?
We pay per month. So let me explain. I don't like to hire people part-time. I want them fully committed. Here's my vision, fully committed to it. Now, that doesn't always happen. So I'll just back out the numbers. So if I'm paying them $380 for the month, or let me put it this way. If I hire someone and they give me 10 designs, right? And I'll ask them, like, per design, what do you want? Right? Now, whatever number they give me, I'll cut them down. But if it's $1 a design, then I know that I expect 380 designs for the month for me to get, to get what I should be getting as the manager, right? So you just take the amount of money you're paying them and then just back it out, right? So I don't pay per design. I'd rather pay for their commitment and their heart and their mind and everything that they're going to put forth, the same amount of effort that I'm going to put. So, Jacob.
Just a second. Hold on.
If you have a long-term employee and you're satisfied with them over the years, when do you decide to bump up their pay or to change something to keep them engaged long-term, like after the initial honeymoon period?
That's just a discretionary call. Like it's like doing the right thing. Can someone explain to me what doing the right thing is? It's just the right thing. So at that point, they deserve it, and then you bump them up. Like, we bumped up our designer. I don't think he asked us for it. I think we just gave it to him. Sometimes I think we may be too, giving, and we may bump people up really fast, but that's just because we're making more money. So share the wealth, right? If you see your boss or an organization making more money, like, you wanna give it out or receive it. Any other questions? Was this helpful? Good. The people game, it seems like really complicated, but it's not, right? There's just simple tactics you can use, and it just comes down to emotions. How do I use, happy to make them happy? How do I use fear to make them scared? And you might have to use it. Like, it's not something, like, you might have to scare them right back into doing the job right. I have a great saying, firm and fair but care. I created that. So you want to be firm, like, here's how it works, assertive. You want to be fair, so what that means is if you make a rule, you might break it. Like, all because you made a rule doesn't mean it's a rule. Like, the rule is whatever it is, but you want to have to be fair. Like, hey, guess what, Anthony? Mom is in the hospital. Like, let her go to the hospital. Like, I know it's important. Like, you just got to be fair. You got to be fair as human beings. And then you got to care. Like, caring is, do I have to explain that? Do I have to explain what care is? Okay. Question? Overseas.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. Onlinejobs.ph. Is that going out to people in America or overseas? So the answer is in the Philippines. It's specifically for the Philippines. I'm half Filipino, so I'll promote that. But I've used people from all over the globe. I like it. It just works. Any other questions? Neil?
Do you have an issue keeping people long term? And if so, how do you overcome that?
I do not have,
especially from the Philippines.
Okay, I do not have issue keeping people long term. I will keep them as long as they keep on producing. But usually by the time that you figured out you have to fire someone, you're already 2 weeks too late, even when you're really good. They've already made their mind up, and now you're starting to observe all their actions and their words. And you guys can figure that out. Like, it's so obvious. Like, the person's coming in late every day, like literally every day. All right, come on, let's have a talk. What's going on?
Can you speak to quality? Are you tracking the sellability of certain designers?
You can. You just we created a tool called 10x Merch Analytics. So I'm not here to promote it, but you got to be good with data to track that stuff, and it's smart to track the sales per designer. But right now, we have one designer producing a shitload of designs per month, so I don't need to track. It's all him. But if you're going to have multiple people, you should track, how many sales are happening per sales guy in a call center, how many designs are being sold by this designer. Yes, that you should be doing that, yeah.
Could you tell me how much you would pay these people in the Philippines?
$380 to $450 a month. That's what I do. $380 to $450 a month. Why is that a lot? Like a lot, or like a little? Okay, it's okay.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah.
How do you turn an employee into a manager? What is that? Do you mind sharing the process of, scaling to a manager position?
That's hard. I've throughout my whole life, I'm always trying to figure out how do I duplicate myself? Like, how do I grow leaders? When you could do that, not only just teaching like your frontline army, and you could grow really quality managers, like you're at a different level. I know how to do it a little bit, but I don't know it enough to teach it yet. So I can't really answer that question with like, well, here's exactly how you do it, because it's not easy, like making a manager run a department, and then you walk away and the department runs. The best way to do it is this, if I was to answer it, is you got to manage through the numbers. So the manager last week ran this department, at this, last month ran it, and these were the numbers, and now this month it's this. So now manager, it's your responsibility, what happened. So there, you make it clear it's their responsibility, and then you manage through the numbers. We used to have a management meeting. I used to say, pull up the numbers. And I just look at the numbers. Okay, it's not good enough. Like, what do we have to do to solve this? That was it. But, growing like really, really good quality managers, like I haven't figured that out yet.
Anybody else? Well, thank you, Kevin.